everyone, and welcome to my very first ever Toonboom video tutorial. Now, I apologize, this isn't an animation, but never fear, they are coming. It's just taken a while, and I've been getting a lot of requests on how to use Toonboom's tools, and not only on YouTube here, but in other places as well, so I figured why not satisfy that, and who knows, maybe you guys want to pick up Toonboom as well, and try to learn it as well. So I'm hoping that I can do a good job of elaborating how exactly these tools work. And today's topic is the camera tool. Now, the camera tool is an interesting little tool because it's not quite straightforward as one would like. It's got to deal with a lot of mishmash, and I admit I was trying to fight with this program, trying to figure out how it worked for the past 3 hours today, and when I finally figured out, I was like, you know what? I gotta give a tutorial on this because I don't want someone else to feel the struggle that I did. The struggle is real. But anyway, let's get into it before I ramble some more. So, in order to add the camera tool, you're going to need to add a camera. And how you do this is either by the plus icon and adding the camera there, or by the insert and camera option. Now you'll have this little guy here. Make sure you have it selected, and then insert, or plus the plus again. You can add a peg that way, a peg here, or a peg here. Now, I just added one, but the problem is that I got a peg here. Why is this a problem? Because I want it to be actually attached to the camera, and it's not. So if that happens, just delete it, or hit that minus tool. Make sure your camera is selected, and then add the peg. And you should get something like that, called camera P. If you do, that means you're on the right track, and you're good to go. Now, the camera is interesting because you actually don't want to touch this camera layer at all. Like, not at all. I know, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but bear with me. So, you're going to also need, you don't have to put this on, but it's nice to have, is your advanced animation toolbar by going into Windows, Toolbars, and Advanced Animation. I already have it selected. It's actually over here. And this will give you a whole array of buttons here. You've got your translate, your rotate, your scale, skew, maintain spline, or spline offset, and maintain size. This one, translate here, will move up, down, left, right, you name it, kind of thing. This will rotate it a full 360 degrees or more. This will scale it, so this will be your zoom in and zoom out. This one will skew it, so it'll kind of like, well, you know, skewing, or basically like italicizing your picture. Maintain size, there's some tutorials explaining this better than I can explain it, but it just basically keeps it the size the same, and then it makes it seem like as if you're going over the horizon. It looks kind of cool. I've seen in action, but I can't exactly elaborate on this tool because I've never played with it. And then spline offset, I also don't have any idea on what this does. So, in getting with the camera here, as I mentioned, you don't want to touch this camera layer at all. Do not touch that. You want to hit the camera. And make sure you don't touch the frame layer when you're changing cameras, otherwise it will just change the size of your whole entire frame and possibly all your drawing layers, and if you change that there, it's going to keep that size change throughout the whole entire thing, which we don't really want to do. We just want to change cameras and do pans and screens and all that sort of fancy stuff. So another cool thing with the camera tool as well is if you get something like this where you have, you know, a sketch and you import it and it's kind of off kilter here, you can actually go in, hit this, and then use a little tool, in this case translate, and kind of just jimmy it up a little bit. And what this does is also creates a keyframe when you have that selected. You can also insert a keyframe by right-click holding and inserting a keyframe too. And that's really handy, like if you're getting later on in the project and you want to put one there, you can do it, but you can also do it on the spot like that. So my frame's good there, but now everything else is kind of off. So what I can do is I can actually go in and insert another keyframe, but I'll get to that in a minute. Right now, I'm going to focus on doing motions for cameras. So in this case, I want to have Sans kind of sliding off to the side here, just for whatever reason. So I'm going to drag it over, right over here. And now, this camera will pan like that. It's super fast, so if it's too fast, you actually have to extend this out. And it'll go slower. As such. Sometimes you can stack the effects. I don't know if it works. It's kind of iffy in working, but let's see if it'll work for me here. Yeah, sometimes it'll not stack effects. I don't know why it does this, but sometimes you can get away with that. Maybe it's just the rotate tool that's kind of weird, but let's just drag it back. Kind of normal. So yeah, for some reason it didn't do the effect, and I'm not sure why that does that. But I know you can do slide in and slide out too, and I'm not sure why it's not letting me do that. But perhaps I can elaborate that in the description once I figure out why it wouldn't be doing that. But for the sake of simplicity, let's just go with one motion. So another thing I can also do is go in and say this scene's kind of too big now, so I'll go in and I'll actually change the size. So let's go and zoom it out. I'm going to translate it. Okay, now you seen there for a second it didn't have this arrow, so it having the arrow right now, it's going to translate there. But if I don't want it translating like that, I'll go in, right click, stop motion keyframe. Now it's just going to cut to that being at that size, and I can drag it to adjust for the frame as I need be. So there, I want it for the papyrus to be in there. So like that. And now it's in shot. Simple as that. So that's nice to have, say if you have like a drawing that's kind of, you don't like where it's positioned right now, you can go and do that. And if you have it blank like this, obviously it's going to snap, it's not going to translate. And if you decide you want it to translate, you right click this first camera here, or the initial part, and then you go in and set motion keyframe, and it'll fix it right up again and translate. So I'm gonna, for the sake of simplicity, set stop. So now we figured out how to change the scene kind of perspective for each scene. Now, let's just say I want them to kind of like zoom in, like they're kind of like an awestruck. So I'm going to add another keyframe here. But oh, wait, this is going to zoom in. I don't want that. So again, I'll go back here, right click, set stop motion keyframe. And then I want it to zoom in where they're shocked. I'll go in, right click, insert keyframe. And I'm going to hit this little ease in, and I'm going to pull it inward so it zooms in, and I'm also going to translate it in so it zooms in on their faces. So now it will zoom in, and if I want that to go quicker in, drag that back, and now we got a nice zoom in on their faces. So that's basically the tools in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this was a thorough tutorial and it wasn't too confusing. If you need any more elaboration on any of these points, feel free to leave a comment down below, and if there's enough questions about the camera tool that I didn't elaborate on, I can make another tutorial. But in the meantime, thank you guys all so much for watching. Have a nice one, and I'll see you all in the next one.